Would you like to come into my tent for a chakra healing, even though I just secretly want to have sex with you?
Gudasol here with Aquarius Academy, and today we're sitting down with Kyle, a spiritual humorologist and supernatural mentor. How you doing, Kyle?
I'm good. I've never been called a spiritual humorologist, but I like it.
Well, you certainly have earned the title. I watched your YouTube videos, your Instagram videos, and they are hilarious.
Thank you, man.
All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Tell me about your introduction to the spiritual world.
So when it came to the spiritual world, it started out more in personal development. I was a basketball player, and from the ages of 14 to 18, I wanted to play professional basketball. And one of the biggest issues that I faced growing up was I practiced more than anyone I had ever met, but my mindset, I was so scared. As soon as the lights went on, as soon as the game started, I fumbled. I didn't feel confident. I played way less than what I knew my potential to be. And that's kind of when I got into books, spirituality, trying to develop myself and develop a greater sense of confidence. And in that, it kind of took me down the rabbit hole of, how do I change my negative thoughts to positive thoughts, to then, being in the middle of South America with some dude shaking a rattle over my head and everything in between.
All right.
Yeah.
And do you feel like you got it at that point, or was that just like the catalyst to get you on the path?
What do you mean by got it?
Do you think that you achieved, was it effective for you at that age? Or what was effective for you at that age?
I think what was effective for me was continuously putting, there's a good quote by Terrence McKenna, and he says, "This is how magic is done. You jump into the abyss and you realize that it's just a bed of feathers." And I think if there was one thing that really changed my life more than anything, it was really hurling myself into the unknown, trusting my intuition over fucking everything, be that financial circumstances, relational circumstances, any kind of excuse I had, I just knew, I had an inner knowing to trust my intuition, and I just kept leaping, and I realized that that's the way to live.
Right.
Yeah.
And I feel like as two Americans here, we are almost in the unknown of Medellin. How do you think that this city has brought out new energies on your path?
I don't know if I wouldn't say it hasn't. I can't really think of how it has other than continuing the adventure that I'm on, but I've been really, really blessed to meet some beautiful people here, such as yourself, and it's been a really beautiful experience.
So as I mentioned, you are a spiritual humorologist. So how do you see the importance of humor in the process of shadow work? And do you think it somehow can detract away from the more seriousness of a spiritual process?
There's so many ways I can answer that question. And I love that there's a dog interjecting. So I think we can treat something with integrity, and we can really look at it and go, this is something that's present for me, but it doesn't mean I have to hold on to it with such a tight grip. I found, especially when I'm supporting clients, if I'm more loose, more light with them, while still taking their situation, their feelings seriously and considering them, I'll still be able to get to where I want to go with them. And usually when you invite humor artfully, skillfully, masterfully, you can help someone shut their process down. Not shut their process down, how would I say it? You can help speed their process up and help them move through stuff quicker because you're not holding on to it so intensely and tightly. It's like when someone goes, I have this problem. I gotta hold on to this problem. I'm like, you crack a joke. Now that same tightness, that same resistance they're holding in their body can loosen up because you use humor in a way to sort of diffuse the situation, still looking at it, still inviting greater perspective, but also realizing it's okay. You can, it's an interesting question. How else would I phrase it? I can hold someone with love, but also when you see who someone can be and who they really are, it's easier for me to use playfulness and humor because I know how the story ends, right? I'm not just stopping there and making fun of something or, poking fun at them. I might poke fun at them and maybe certain ways that they hold on tightly to something. I'll give you a good example. I think this would be a better metaphor. I had a client of mine who was on the brink of divorce, and one of the things that she wanted was better sex in her relationship, in her marriage. And she's a very go-getter, personal development type woman, very spiritually inclined. And what I knew to be true was she was overly domineering her relationship. So I shared with her, I said, I'm sure you have tried all the conscious conversations and, had the 2-hour processes, where you're talking about your feelings and all of these things. And I think that's beautiful. And when was the last time you really felt inspired to fuck each other after that? And she started to laugh. And I said, what if you just said, I'm going to go on the bed. I want you to take me for the next 2 hours. And she laughed at how simple it was. And 2 days later, she said, we had the best sex we ever had. And I say that because humor can also help people see. It's almost like it gives people a momentary flash into receptivity, into a new perspective.
Okay.
So, when I said that, she got it and it clicked for her. And she said, we had the best sex we ever had. And I think humor combined with simplicity can help people see how simple things actually can be without it needing to be some drawn out spiritual process. Not saying there won't be moments for that and times for that, but also just considering that things can be easier than we allow them to be. And sometimes humor helps kind of grease the bearings a bit.
Okay. And I thank you for sharing that message because I feel that there's a lot of people within the spiritual community that we kind of get trapped in these dogmas.
Yep.
Whether they come from a traditional past or just observing what we see works around us.
Mm-hmm.
And your perspective sometimes reminds us that the dogmas are just dogmas,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I think it's beautiful that you're using it not only on Instagram, but for real people,
Yeah.
helping real people.
Yeah.
Do you think it's easier for you to use humor for another or for yourself? Or I guess my question is, what's the process if I wanted to laugh at myself more or use humor in my own personal development and in my own deep trauma? How can I use that to dig it up and really heal it in a good way?
Can you give me an example?
So let's say I have some deep sexual trauma or deep social anxiety. What's a healthy way that I can laugh at myself? Should I be setting up a situation? Should I just sit down and laugh? Do I need somebody else to poke fun at me? What would be your advice?
So the reason why I ask for an example is sometimes it depends on the context,
Okay.
right? I'm not going to come to someone who comes with me with sexual trauma and go, ha ha ha, right? That wouldn't be a great start to create safety. So it always starts with really listening to yourself, listening to another if someone's sharing with you, and really just taking them in, right? And that doesn't always look like you're, beaming with smiles. It looks like empathizing. It looks like being present with them. And it's more so when I'm comfortable with someone, we have a level of rapport where I can, speak certain things into them in a process where, they can laugh and see a different perspective. But it's hard to there is no process, right? And that's where I think, humor brings back spontaneity. And spontaneity comes from trust. So it's more so being in a space of trust. That's what I tell people. I don't have a specific process I always take a client through. It's not A to Z. It's I'm present, I'm here, I'm available for what wants to come through me in a session. And usually it ends with, or there's parts where there's laughter, but it's not always, we're just laughing the whole time. There is a level of, I'll give you a good example. A kid falls off I got a better example. I have a client of mine who came to me about 1.5 years ago, and she just came out of a relationship and was all pissed. Was just, he did this and this and this. And I always start by just empathizing, right? Like I'm not looking to fix anyone. I'm not looking to, jump straight in with the solution. I just hear her, receive her, what she has to say, what she has to share. I don't necessarily have like a laugh at your problems process,
Okay.
right? But what I do know is the more lightly you can hold what you're going through, while still treating it with integrity and presence, I find that when you can hold it more lightly, it's easier to move through a long process. So like, I'll give you a good example. Sometimes someone could be going through it, right? They, whatever process they're going through, whether it's a breakup with someone, whether it's, their business is going in a direction that they don't like. Sometimes what we can do is we can just pause and look at it and just look at sometimes the crazy shit that our mind tells us, right? So that would be an example. I haven't really thought about it, but an example would be just looking at like the absolute crazy stories our mind will tell us when we're in a process, and then we notice our avatar in a sense get even more serious. No, but you don't understand, and I need to do this and this. And I'm like, I hear you. But if you can just witness that part of your mind that is almost going haywire and just look at it and be like, wow, that is just its own little cartoon animation just flowing.
Wow.
And when you can have more distance, which humor creates distance, and distance is one of the precursors to healing. If we're in it, we can't see out of it.
Okay.
Right? So the more lightly we can hold it and just almost look like, wow, my mind is fucking tripping. Well, now we have more space, and space affords us more opportunity. Like breath. When we breathe, we have a deeper breath, we have more choice because we have more awareness. When you have humor, when you have lightheartedness, even amidst something very serious, and one thing I will say is I never take someone's trauma or things lightheartedly, but I also can add a lot of lightness to it. But it comes from meeting it fully. But you can't meet something fully when you're in it, right? You can't a mentor of mine said this. He says, you can't intervene in a world you can't see, and humor gives you space.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
So can you tell me a little bit more about the channeling sessions that you do with people?
Yeah. So I combine psychic readings with transformational sessions. So I'm like the midway point between the mystical and the practical. I love to give people really grounded, down-to-earth support in actualizing their next level, be that in business, relationship, an emotional challenge they're going through. And I don't like, this is one thing I've seen in the spiritual world. I don't want someone to come into a session and pay me good money for them to go, well, Archangel Michael told me everything's going to be okay. I'm like, I love to give people real practical, do this, do that. Give you a good example. I had a session with a client today. She's been a client of mine for a while, and she's had scoliosis. And one of the things that we got to was her standing up for herself, right? And she's told me her scoliosis has dissipated so much just from her learning boundaries, learning to stand up for herself. So, I use the information that I receive in sessions, and I also make it very grounded, like, you need to have a conversation with this person. You need to start saying no to people. And what she noticed was my posture, my pain, like so many things started to dissipate because the scoliosis was a physical manifestation of her not standing up for herself. And if, no one knows about scoliosis, it's when your posture, your spine is messed up, so you end up more hunched. So that's a real practical way that that she benefited from the session.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So you're a natural intuitive, and I've always felt that even from the first time that we talked and before I saw your videos. How do you use intuition, and also how can you help people to unlock their intuition?
Okay. I mean, I use intuition in every aspect of my life, be it, I wasn't planning on being in Medellin. I was in Spain. Someone just said, go to Medellin, and now we're here. And when it comes to other people, there's a few ways in which I really help people access their intuition. One of them is play. Right? When you think about a kid, right, and they go to the playground, the kid isn't sitting there like, which tarot card do I pull? Which should I go on the swings or the slide? Which one? Right? They're not in that seriousness. They're just going, I want to fucking go on here. I want to stick my head through the little bars and cry because I don't know if I can get my head out, and then pull it out and then go play on the swings again. Right? So play helps us tap into our instincts, and our instincts is one way our intuition communicates to us. Another big piece that I invite people to try is try trusting your first thought. Right? So if you get a thought that goes, you need to go to, well, we're in Medellin, so Carulla, and get almond milk. And you're like, I don't even drink almond milk. Something's like, no, you need to go. So that person follows it. Maybe they meet someone they're supposed to meet. So I implore people to really just practice, even if it's nothing more than just an experiment, trusting that first thought, trusting that first inkling, even if it doesn't make sense.
All right, here's a on the spot. Tell me about sometime in the last week that you had that first thought and you followed it, or you followed your intuition and something beautiful came out of it.
The last week.
You can do last 10 days.
Okay, thank you for
3 extra days.
thanks for the 3-day wiggle room. Last 10 days. I'll give you a good example. I think in the last 10 days, granted, what is today? The 25th? 26th?
25, yeah.
25. Okay. It might have been in the last 12 days, if you can give me 2 more days grace.
Okay.
Okay. Tarek, who lives here, someone was like, go meet up with him. And I stayed and I waited, and then we met. And that led to this whole encounter.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I actually didn't really, I was so tired, but someone was like, you need to go here.
And you know what? Like, that was intuitive for me too, because like sometimes I'm so wrapped up in my work that, like, you know, you saw me bring down my laptop.
Yep.
And it was hard not to get on that laptop. But
Yep.
like that conversation, that 5-hour conversation that we
Yep.
had changed my life.
I'm glad to hear it.
And with you and Reggie, like, I realized that I am not spiritually evolved. Like, I am mentally evolved, but I'm not spiritually evolved. And that sort of shifted, I guess, my whole perspective of what my value is. And so I hope that through these interviews, my mentalness can help bring out others' spirituality.
Okay.
And that connection that we're making right now can help others that are watching at home.
How do you contextualize spiritually evolved?
So I think it's intuition, really. And Reggie said something in that conversation that he went through, I think it was a 9-month period where he didn't operate on thought. And he was going and operating through his body. So, you know, we're talking about intuition. And for me, I've never found that. Like, I'm always constantly battling my ego, battling my mind. And I'm seeking more and more to just go with the flow and let it happen.
So, if I may,
sure.
I would invite you to look at how you're defining whether or not you're spiritually evolved.
Okay.
I would change the context to being you're spiritually evolving.
Okay.
And if we look at your past, you know, I don't know all of it, but I know little blips from what you shared, you have been spiritually evolving. Right? You couldn't even be spiritually evolving if you didn't even come to the conclusion, oh, I've been more in my mind than I have in my... That is part of spiritual evolution. And so often, this is the funny piece, and this is, you know, where we can include humor, is we think there's somewhere we need to get to. Once I'm finally spiritually evolved, what does that even mean? Right? If we can see it more as we're always evolving. There's a guy, he said this, and he said, life will present to you people, places, and circumstances to reveal where you're not free. Meaning, we're always spiritually evolving. Whether we recognize it or not, right? You being downstairs and being like, wow, I learned something. That's spiritual evolution.
Okay.
Right? So, because so often I see people, we play God with ourselves. Am I going forward or am I not going forward? And if we realize life is always presenting you opportunities to be more of yourself. You could say yes to it, you could say no to it. But even if you say no to it, you're still evolving.
And you said something in that conversation that I really want to share, and because I mentioned something about like one of the few times I felt regret was when I smoked DMT after doing ayahuasca.
Mm-hmm.
And do you remember what you said there?
Something along the lines of, you didn't do anything wrong.
No, you said
Everything happened
number
as
one
in.
about being compassionate to
Yep.
yourself. Like, there's never a time when you shouldn't be compassionate to yourself.
Yep.
Like, there's never a reason not to be compassionate to yourself. And the other thing that you said is that there's always like a reason or a meaning, and I'm trying to remember the exact words, or you should have. That's what it is.
Yeah.
You always should have. And I've been using that to sort of reorient how I see what I just did, and not being so hard on myself and being like, okay, I just did that. I canceled this thing that I wanted to do,
Yeah.
but I should have done that. And then when I accept that mind state, I notice that the rest of my day seems more divine,
Yeah.
more intuitive.
So I'll unpack that a little bit.
Sure.
It was something along the lines of, everything happened as it should have. So, one thing I tell my clients is, I say, every time you argue with reality, you lose. Right? So if I were to go, no one can see that because the camera's this way, but right now it's sunny. If I were to go scream at the sky and go, why isn't it fucking raining? Nothing. All I'm going to experience is suffering. So if we look at our past and we go, why didn't I do this, this, and this? And what I tell people, and this is where compassion comes in, we're always doing the absolute best we can. So like, if we were to go to an animal shelter and we see a pit bull, and that pit bull bites dudes with long hair. Every dude with long hair that comes in, the pit bull bites. And people look at that dog, if they're not looking deep enough, and they go, that's a bad dog. It's doing bad things. But what they fail to see is that the entire past of that dog was being kicked by dudes with long hair. So this is why I say compassion is important, because if we can be compassionate and go, actually, we don't see the full picture, and we're judging that dog based on how it's showing up. We're judging ourselves based on how we're showing up, but we're forgetting the compassion that we're doing the best we can based upon everything we've ever experienced. And this is where we start to join forces with reality, so we can make reality what it is. So, I don't know if you use Google Maps, right? You cannot get to where you want to go until you put in where you are. You can't put in where you are until you accept where you are. And this is why I'm saying, if we want to get to where we want to go, we first have to accept where we are. And acceptance and saying we should have done this or that can't coexist.
Okay.
So we'll evolve faster spiritually, if you want to put it that way, by going, everything should have happened exactly as it did because it did. Otherwise, it would be the equivalent of going out to a sunny day and screaming at the sky, why isn't it raining?
Yeah.
I'm saying the faster you can go, oh, it's sunny. Great, now that it's sunny, I can do activities that are better on sunny days.
Yeah.
Right?
And I've never heard anybody complain that it was sunny unless they're getting sunburned at the beach.
Unless it's a vampire.
Well, this has been so insightful, and I think that there's a lot of things that people can take away, but I want to give you a chance to give even more. Can you share with me your 3 top tips for anybody on their spiritual journey?
Have fun. In the process of trying to discover yourself, in the process of trying to become more of yourself, don't forget to have fun. There's a great quote in the Bible, actually, and it says, you will get to the kingdom of heaven through the eyes of a child. And so this is what's funny, right? In our whole spiritual journey, if we can zoom out to the end game, it's looking at, where do we really want to be? We probably want to be more free, more liberated, more playful. So I'm saying, instead of waiting for those things as some prize you get at the end of the journey, so to speak, if you start there, how can I be more playful? How can I be more liberated? How can I express myself more freely now? Well, I'm already being what it is that I desire. So I'm already joining forces with that which I want to manifest, right? So how can you have fun and enjoy your life so much and trust your intuition so much that everything else comes along as a bonus? Yeah. And the last piece I would say is, don't be afraid to be courageous. And even if you are afraid, be courageous. Be courageous in the sense of speaking your truth, having the conversation, and realizing that what your intuition is calling you to do is actually best for everyone. So what's best for me on a deep soul level is best for everybody. And that includes uncomfortable conversations. That includes pushing the live button when I don't want to go live, but my spirit's telling me to go live. Anytime you do that, you're of service to things much greater than you that you don't even know yet. You might have had someone on the brink of suicide, and because you clicked live, even though your small human fearful self didn't want to, that person on the other end of the camera, on the other end of the screen goes, wow, that's exactly what I needed to hear. So by you following your intuition, you also unlock synchronicity for other people that are waiting and realizing, this is the last thing I'll say, is realize that there are people on their hands and knees praying to meet someone exactly like you. And if you can live into that knowing and realize that by you trusting your intuition, you play a bigger part than you can even imagine, you'd start to move differently.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is beautiful. And, it's what I needed to hear. So I know that it's what a lot of other people needed to hear. So you've been here, we've been talking, and I've been leading. Now's your chance. Let us know what you've got going on. Let us know how people can connect to you. Anything you'd like to share.
You can connect to me through your heart chakra in paradise. No. So you can follow me on Instagram. I make funny spiritual comedy videos. My name is Kyle Lipton, and I mentor people. If you're interested in a session with me or deeper dive mentorship, I'd be happy to support you on your journey. I also, which is going to be coming up in September, I am launching a space for creatives, people who know they have something on their heart and soul that wants to be expressed, whether that's music, whether you're a coach, whether you're a speaker, whatever creative endeavor you want to dive into. If you want to actualize it and bring it out into the physical world, I would love to support you. And that is a space essentially bridging the mystical with the practical, actually getting your life's work out into the world and doing so in a way that you fucking enjoy. Because I see so many people, they call themselves a coach or a spiritual seeker, and they think that they can't be anything outside of that identity. And I love to help people pop out of those identities. Because the more you pop, this is another kind of cosmic funny, the more you pop out of the identity of being a spiritual person or a serious spiritual seeker, you actually become more spiritual because you're dissolving an identity that isn't actually serving you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you so much again for being here, Kyle. We've got a link in the bio. Anybody can check out what he's doing, watch his videos. They're hilarious. My name is Gudasol. Thank you for joining us here at Aquarius Academy. Peace.
Would you like to pay me $2,000 for a spiritual transformational session, only for me to tell you that Archangel Michael says hello and to pay me for more?
All right, we're back here with Kyle. Kyle wants some funny questions, so now is my time to be spontaneous. I would like you to describe for me your first sexual experience using only analogies involving fruit.
Damn. Using analogies only. Okay.
Next question.
No, I'll roll with it. Okay. You drop a watermelon in your kitchen. It's a beautiful, amazing, tasty watermelon. But now it's on the floor. The watermelon side's touching the bottom. You really want to eat it. But you're like, I don't know. Then you make a split-second decision. You pick it up fast and you eat the watermelon and it's delicious.
Tell me what's your favorite type of yogurt.
Coconut yogurt.
Coconut yogurt. Favorite type of shoes.
Comfortable ones.
Least favorite sport you'd like to play naked.
Least favorite sport I'd like to play naked. Ping pong.
Okay.
I like ping pong though. Or lacrosse.
When's the last time you thought about assaulting a police officer?
Don't know if I ever have.
Good answer.
Yeah.
If you had to spend the rest of your life locked in a room, what color would the walls be?
Definitely not white. Maybe many different colors, like a rainbow of sorts, because I think I'd go nuts just seeing one color for the rest of my life.
Okay. You're on a 20-hour flight. You have to watch one video again and again, but it's in Russian. What video are you watching?
But it's in Russian. Probably Wopum Gangnam Style, the music video.
Okay. That's a good answer.
I think that would be fucking hilarious.
Yeah. Okay, you're meeting one celebrity.
Okay.
This is the only celebrity you're gonna meet for the rest of your life.
Okay.
But he or she's gonna slap you in the face as hard as he can. Who are you gonna meet?
It's this. So I just meet them one time and
You
they
meet
smack
them one
me.
time. It's the only celebrity you meet in your life, but you have to receive a smack as hard as they can give you.
Definitely the physically weakest celebrity.
Yeah, but it's the only celebrity you're gonna meet, so you got to find a middle balance.
But are we talking, or are they just smacking me and leaving?
No, just a smack.
Yeah,
but you get to see them, and you get their face, you get their handprint on your face.
I mean, I don't really care about meeting a celebrity, so probably just whatever celebrity is the smallest, weakest celebrity that does the least damage to my face.
Very logical answer.
Yeah.
Okay, so eyes or testicles? You have to lose one today. Which one are you picking?
Testicles.
Okay.
Well, I can still have sex with my penis.
True.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Just a bunch of grapes hanging under my dick. I mean, I can part with that. I can't part with losing my vision.
Okay. You're living in the forest,
Okay.
and this forest is only populated with one type of animal.
Okay.
Now, this animal has to be your sustenance for an entire year.
Damn.
And you don't have any tools other than sticks or rocks to take it down. Which animal would you like to be there and why?
Do they fight back?
It's a regular animal. So it can be, if a bear, maybe you would fight back. But if it's a bear, then you get the bear pelt, so that's going to help you in the winter.
I guess. I'd probably go with cow.
Cow.
Yeah.
Okay. I should have specified that it has to be a realistic animal that you would find in a forest. But
Okay.
maybe there are forests filled with cows somewhere.
You haven't been to the cow forest
I have not been to a cow.
in Prague.
Okay, you're an X-Men. You have one power. The question is not which power you would choose, but your girlfriend has that power. Which power are you picking for your partner for the rest of your life?
What power does my partner get? Unlimited, unconditional love.
Ooh, I think you're going to find that one.
I think so.
All right. What's your favorite type of cheese?
I don't eat cheese.
Oh, man. Okay. Well, that just threw a curveball in my next 6 questions.
I'm not a cheese eater.
All right. You have to join the military.
Okay.
Which country are you going to join the military for, assuming that the least GDP of the military you join, the higher pay you get?
What is GDP?
Like the gross domestic product of the country. So if you join the American military, you'd make like the least amount of money.
Where would I make the most amount of money? Russia?
Probably like the Congo, or like.
But I'm also most likely to die, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so it's one of these balance questions between, do you want to have a good experience or do you want to make a lot of money?
I mean, I want to come out of it living.
Okay.
So whatever that, I don't, yeah. Military is a whole another deep dive rabbit hole.
Okay. Oh, man. Okay. What's your spirit animal?
Lion.
Lion.
Yeah.
Okay. What's your anti-spirit animal?
Anti-spirit animal? I don't know. What would be my anti? I'll just say ferret. I don't know why.
I think that's actually my spirit animal.
Okay.
So.
We're opposing viewpoints now.
Nah, I'm just lying. Anyway.
I see what you did there.
Yeah. So, I'm out of jokes.
You did good.
Oh, thank you.
Those good jokes.
Thank you. We're definitely going to cut a lot of those out. So what you didn't see was very embarrassing for me, and I obviously control the editing. Thank you so much for being here, Kyle.
Thanks for having me.
Again, the link is in the bio. Check out Kyle, laugh at his jokes, and feel them hurt in a good way.
Do you want to stare into each other's soul through the windows of our eyes? Not because I actually care about connecting to you, but because I want to feel spiritually superior and important through dominating you through my eye contact. I don't blink.